so much for joining us tonight. I am Allison Wheeler. I'm a future executive senior sales director with Mary Kay. So we're going to tell you a little bit about what that means tonight. And my partner in crime, Danielle Rieger, a senior sales director with Mary Kay. And we are just excited that you guys are committed enough to take a little part of your week with us. To do a little bit of training. And so to kind of give you guys a little backstory on me, and Danielle can share a little bit about herself as well. But I have been building my Mary Kay business for almost 12 and a half years now. I cannot believe it's been that long, but I started in January of 2009. I had worked in real estate before that, and the housing market completely crashed. My husband is a builder, and so we were both in the same industry with no income. And I needed to find something else to do to make some money until things kind of picked back up. I didn't intend to do this as a full-time career at the time. I just honestly needed to have some cash flow to pay our bills. And once I got started, I would say within my first 6 months, I completely fell in love with the Mary Kay culture, the Mary Kay company. I already liked the products, but I really approached my business the same way I had been working my real estate business. And so I was working Mary Kay like a business, even though I didn't necessarily think I was going to be doing it full time. I needed to make money. And so to me, it was a business from the very beginning. And I really feel like that has been the key to my success. And so kind of at that 6 month mark, I said, okay, you know what? Like, I really feel like I'm supposed to be doing this. I really want to kind of go full steam ahead, work this as a full-time business, and not really look back. And within my first year, I earned my first car, became a sales director basically a year after starting my business. And that is a leadership position where Mary Kay Corporate pays us a commission to train and work with our consultants. And so you guys, this is our job, is to help support you and to mentor you and to coach you. And so we want you to know that the better you do, the better we do. We want you to succeed. And so tonight is part of that support and part of that training. And our new consultant training has definitely evolved over the years because this past year has been like no other, right? And so we are honestly kind of relearning or learning a lot of new things right along with you as a new consultant. And for me in particular, I had a baby 3 weeks before everything shut down last year. And so the majority of this past year, I was home with a baby, breastfeeding, and really not working my Mary Kay business to the capacity that maybe even some of you have been. So Danielle and I have worked this business in many different seasons of life. And this past year, the two of us worked our business very, very differently. I had built a large team and a large customer base that over this past year, I basically just serviced my customers and worked with my existing team. I didn't have a lot of new business because of the season of life I was in. I really could not take that on. But I want to share with you guys, not to brag or boast or anything, but honestly, just to really show you what this business can do if you do build a strong customer base and you build a strong team. And we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. My 1099 for Mary Kay for just my commissions, meaning just as a sales director, my commissions from my team and my income from my car, because I've been taking the cash for the career car for the past 3 years, was $60,000. That doesn't include my sales from my customers, and that was with almost virtually no new business. So not a lot of new customers, not a lot of new team members. It was just my existing team. And I have 3 offspring sales directors like Danielle. So Danielle is a part of my personal team. She was in my unit and became a sales director and is part of my downline of people on my team that I continue to get paid on. And so we're going to kind of explain what that means as far as the career path goes. And we're going to open it up in the beginning for you guys to ask questions. But what I want you to know is that number one, this business works when you work, right? And you can choose what that looks like and how and when you want to work. And that is my absolute favorite part of this marketing plan and this business, because for me, I needed flexibility when I first started my business. And I was taught very early on that if you treat it like a business, it will pay you like a business. And if you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. And I want you to know that both ends of the spectrum are okay, because it's totally up to you what you want to do with your business and how you want to work it. And some people, it is for fun and it is a hobby. And sometimes we kind of go up and down, right? Like sometimes it's for fun, but sometimes we need some extra money. And, sometimes it's really just to meet new people, but sometimes we see a really fun prize that we want to work a little bit harder to earn, right? And so I love that you get to choose when and how you want to work. And for me and my family, it has been a huge, huge blessing. And so tonight, Danielle is going to kind of share a little bit about her story as well, but we really just want to kind of open this up in the beginning for you guys to ask questions. And so what I think would probably be the best is we can kind of go around and at the beginning, everyone ask one question. So some of you may be like brand new, like don't really know a whole lot about anything. And you're like, what do I do? And some of you I know by your name and know you personally, you have been building your business for a little while. And so you may have a little bit of a different question, but we're going to let you guys ask kind of one question in the beginning. So we have an idea specifically of what you want from us. Because like I said, everything has kind of changed over the past year and a half, right? Like we're moving to basically everything has been virtual. Mary Kay as a company has been changing a lot of the things that they do. And so we're all kind of learning together, and we want to know how we can best support you. So Danielle, if you want to kind of share, and then we'll kind of go through and let them ask, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm excited you guys are here. And so just a little bit about me. Like Allison said, so she probably worked the least amount this last year, and I worked the most I have ever worked. And so April 2nd, I turned 29 and was my 7-year anniversary with Mary Kay. And so I met Allison years ago in college at a party. Was just kind of a
Mary Kay party.
A Mary Kay party, a Mary Kay party. And really my mom started buying me all the products. Allison would like send me deals, and I was like, yo, I'm broke. I'm in college. I don't have money for this. But my mom would buy me everything, which was awesome. And so I had told Allison, like, maybe when I'm done with college, I'll think about doing something like Mary Kay, because I did like the products. I liked Allison, but I really wasn't entrepreneurial at all. I went to school for dental hygiene. That was the only thing I ever wanted to do. But you always need extra money. And so really I got started just to get my products at a discount until I got hired on at a dental office. I planned on leaving Mary Kay. And then anyway, here we are, 7 years later, which I've worked as a newlywed, planning a wedding, taking care of my parents. Now both my parents have passed away. I'm pregnant. Like, I feel like I've worked literally every possible season except having a baby in these short 7 years. But in the last year, so strictly in 100% of COVID, we were like locked at home. We finished our pink Cadillac. And so it was just really been a crazy time, because I had worked part-time dental office, Mary Kay full-time. But it's been so fun over the last year to learn how to work virtually, because I know that speaks to even a lot of you guys on here, where we didn't even have the skills to do that. Like even Sammy is a past consultant. She's like, man, I wish I could have done this before. And she'd asked me years ago, like, can we have a Facebook party? And I'm like, sure, if you can figure that out. Like, I don't know how to do that. And now that's how, we've been doing everything. And so maybe not on Facebook, but virtually. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about me, but now I'm going to have a baby, which is crazy. So now I'm going to be working it. Who knows how, but we do want to go around. And so just if you have a specific question, go ahead and you can unmute and you can just shout it out, and we'll kind of go from there.
Hey, Danielle, I had a question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Hear me? Okay. How do you keep so many women working for you, like working under you for as long as you have? Because like I've been knowing you for a long time, and you always like build your teams up. How do you keep them staying for so long? Because a lot of times I find I have like a girl will say, yeah, I want to do it, but then they don't, so how do you keep them for as long as you have?
That's a great question.
Great question. Okay, so I'm kind of jotting these down as you guys ask, okay?
Mm-hmm. So we'll kind of go around and ask all our questions, and then we'll kind of come back and answer them.
Okay. Sammy, Samantha, did you call her Sammy? Is that right?
I think my question is because of like COVID and like people being worried about like not being together and that kind of stuff. I work with a lot of older people. And so have you seen that? Has it affected like your income a lot having to do things virtually, or has it stayed relatively the same when it comes to new customers? Because like, you know, I'm just starting out, so it's like trying to like build that customer base. And so like
Right.
has that virtual like affected that? Because I'm like, it's, you know, how does that look with like testing the products and trying it like when I'm not right there with them?
Okay, great question. I feel like a lot of people probably have that same thing. If you're starting, you're new, you're like, you know, it is virtual. We're not meeting in person as much. And so I feel like a lot of people have that question. So thank you for asking that. Okay. Anna, do you have any questions?
It's okay.
And if y'all need to put it in the chat, if you can't
Yeah.
speak, you can do that too.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah,
Got it working. Good job.
okay, my question is, what's the best way to get people to give parties? Because I'm
Okay.
stumped.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? I have a yelling 20-month-old in the background. I'm locked in my bathroom sitting in the floor, so I understand. Okay, so y'all can keep using the chat, or if you want to like raise your hand or whatever to ask a question. But I think one of the main things Danielle and I did want to go over with you, it's kind of like no matter how long you've been in the business or kind of where you're starting, is if it's virtual, if it's in person, the core principles of Mary Kay as a company, but also the way that we work our business never change. And we can adapt them to, you know, all online or whatever the case may be. And I really feel like the company has done a great job with the customer delivery service, offering that. And they're even going to have a virtual hub now on Mary Kay in Touch. And so I know a lot of you are probably using the Mary Kay app the majority of the time. Is that right? Like you guys are mainly using the My Customers app for your orders. I would encourage you to go on Mary Kay in Touch, at least on a regular basis, just to kind of check in and see some of the things that they're adding. But they are going to have a hub, I think that's what it's called, right, Danielle? With tools for virtual parties, virtual lead generating and things like that. So we've kind of been in this for a year now, and we figured out a lot of things. And I feel like even when things, quote, get more back to normal, this will still be a big portion of our business. And so I'm thankful that we're learning all of this and figuring it out, because we are going to have that advantage moving forward and have that option. You know, I did an event last night with the new summer products. It was an in-person event. It was maybe 10 people. But you guys, they had so much fun. I was the first one to leave because I had to go pick up my baby. But the women were there for hours because everyone was so glad to get out, so glad to be around people, and had so much fun. And so I do feel like things are going to start trending in that direction, at least even in very small groups. And so if you're comfortable doing that, you have people that are willing to do that, I say absolutely. I know I'm more powerful in person. I can connect with people better. But we do have the ability, you know, to work our business online, which I think is a huge advantage moving forward regardless, because it does open up the opportunity for more people to become Mary Kay consultants, in my opinion. So one of the things that really is the key to your business, whether it's virtual or in person, is booking new appointments, right? So parties, facials, whatever that looks like, selling the products, recruiting, which is building a team, and coaching all of those things to happen correctly, right? Like coaching your parties or appointments to hold, coaching your new consultant, us working with you as a director and a consultant. And I'm going to kind of let Danielle talk about like the booking side, especially more virtually, since she has been doing that more. But one of the things I want to kind of share with you guys, because some of you may not even know, and this is kind of where I was when I first started, was that, we make a 50% commission from our sales. But if you're really wanting to work this as a business or really make a substantial amount of money, it comes from the team building side. And a lot of times we think about those as very separate things, like, oh, well, I just want to sell the products, or, I'm good at recruiting, but I'm, to me, it's a both. It's not an either or, they go together. And really, when you're talking about the business, a lot of people they're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. How am I supposed to build a team of people and then train them, because I don't even know what I'm doing? Like, I don't want to do that because I don't know what I'm doing. But it's our job as directors to work with your team members. And so basically, until you get to the level of being a sales director, we are always the one working with your team, or at least working alongside of you. And you're making commissions from the company. And so the way to maximize the marketing plan is to sell and build a team at the same time. And that's how you earn the cars. That's how you become sales directors or make a substantial amount of money, is selling and recruiting. Can you make a lot of money selling the products? Absolutely. In the beginning, do you make a lot of money building a team? If you have one or two people, not a whole lot. But as you build and as you grow, it kind of compounds itself, and you always get paid upon those people. And so it builds up over time. It doesn't have to take a long time, but it builds up over time. And so as a new consultant with your first team member, you can earn a 4% commission. Now, Mary Kay also has a bonus in place where your new team member, based on what they decide to do with their business, you can earn a $50 bonus if they become what's called Great Start Qualified. And many of you have taken advantage of those bonuses through the Great Start program, and we can talk about that if you have questions about that. But it's really our job as a director to work with them, figure out what they're wanting to do with their business, help them get started, and then you get to earn commissions based on what they choose to do. And you're kind of like their cheerleader, supporting them, encouraging them, and a lot of times just like a power partner, like somebody that you can work with, bounce ideas off of, and do things together, whether it's virtual or in person. But for the month of May, they did it in April, and for the month of May, that $50 is doubled to a $100 bonus. And that $100 bonus gets paid immediately once your team member becomes qualified. And so team building is a great way to make money and make it quickly if you decide that's something you want to do. I believe it's a decision of saying, yes, like I want to grow my team. I want to, move up the career path, but also help people along the way. And that was the one thing Mary Kay Ash asked us to do, was just to pass it on. Like, you've been blessed by this business. It has been, a positive light in your life in some way, whatever that is. You should pass that on to give someone else the opportunity to do that. And again, that's our job, to be able to share with them, to give them the information, talk to them about how to get started. That's not necessarily your job as a consultant. And I feel like that's where a lot of people get hung up and just are either scared to build their team or don't know how. And so they just don't. But you're leaving a lot of money on the table if you choose not to go down that road. Even if you're not wanting to become a sales director with the responsibilities that we have of working with a large team, you can still have a smaller team and make some good extra money on a monthly basis. Mm-hmm. Danielle, is there anything that you want to add to that?
I'm just thinking back to how you recruited all of my first 10 team members, and so I think it is true, everything that Allison is saying, but like utilizing her or utilizing your director, if you have somebody that you're thinking about, like, oh, well, she needs extra money, or, oh, I would love to have her on my team. I would love to just work with her. Even if you think she would say no, every month we have like special sharing challenges where you can get some fun prizes, and just, I always use that as an example of like, hey, I'm in a challenge, and I just remember I was so scared I did nothing, but Allison, always helped me recruit. And so always reaching up, especially in terms of team building.
Yeah. So I 100% believe the best way to build your team is at your appointments, at your parties, through the products, or through your customer base, your existing customer base. And so Danielle is going to kind of talk about like the booking part of that, how to get referrals, how to meet new people, especially in a virtual world. But also, many of you participated in the Spring Fling event that we did in March. We are going to have another one at the end of this month in May. And so events like that, even especially online events, because anybody can watch, right? Like it doesn't matter what's going on in their life. Anybody can watch a video. Online events, especially if we're not doing as many in person, is really the best way that you can share about the business and build your team. And I will say a lot of people really don't understand the full scope of the career path. And so there are a couple resources that I would encourage you to check out. Number one is the advanced brochure, and you can find the digital version of that on Mary Kay in Touch. I think it's under the resources tab. Basically anything you ever want to know is on Mary Kay in Touch. But the resources tab, the advanced brochure, and that just kind of breaks down for you what commissions are available and the steps to move up. And that was one of the things that was very important to Mary Kay Ash, because she worked for a lot of other companies where men were promoted over her because that was just the day and time she lived in. And so there was no clear-cut way for her to know how to get promoted. And that was something that she really wanted to provide to her sales force, was a step-by-step roadmap of how to get from point A to point B if you're wanting to move up to earn extra money, have a leadership position, whatever that looks like. And I will tell you guys, to earn a car in Mary Kay is way more feasible than a lot of people may think. You only have to have 5 people on your team to go on target to earn a car. And you can earn a car as a consultant. You don't ever have to be a sales director if you don't want to. You can earn a car as a consultant and take either the Malibu, which is the car, or the cash compensation. And you can start that qualification process with 5 people on your team. And so a lot of people think, it's kind of way further out there than it actually is. But if you break it down and work with your director on what those steps are, it's a very, very doable step, in my opinion, and a huge win for you as a consultant and for your family if that's a need that you may have.
Yeah. There's actually a new tab on In Touch called compensation, and that's where the advanced brochure is, and it has the whole like beauty consultant compensation plan right there as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, well, in terms of booking, and so Sammy, kind of coming back to your question, and I think Lynn, coming back to your question about bookings, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. I think right now, especially, we have the most options we've ever had, the most training available via, your director, via Mary Kay, MK University. If you guys haven't jumped into that, under education on the Mary Kay In Touch website or on your Great Start app, you can be tracking all of your new consultant bonuses, and there's the Mary Kay University is on there as well. And there's a ton of training out there now, of course, of in-person or virtual appointments. And I think it truly, like Allison said, it comes back to your comfort level. Depending on where you live, I know, things are kind of like up in the air, but I think there are people that are willing to meet in person. And if you want to do that and you're comfortable doing that on a small scale or a large scale, you totally can. And you can have normal facials just like we usually do, where people get to try all the products. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, or you have someone who is not comfortable doing that, or your hostess lives in a different state even, there are a lot of different resources you can use for virtual appointments. So personally, over the last year, I've done them all different ways. I've done them sending samples out. And so of course, Mary Kay has like the awesome new sample pack, which some of you may have gotten with your starter kit, or you can order samples that are Section 2 online, which you don't want to spend all of your money there. Okay. Do not go on InTouch tonight and spend $300 on samples, because it's just not beneficial to you. You don't get any credit for that. Your team doesn't get any credit for that. You don't make any money off of Section 2 paper products, the books, the samples. But I think there's a time and a place. Okay. And so I've done Zoom facials just like this, where I had a hostess and she invited her mom, her sister, her neighbor, and I mailed them a little sample pack just of the Time Wise and maybe like a charcoal mask. And I gave them a facial through the computer. So they had their washcloths and we did it that way. Or you're doing the same thing in person. So I've done them that way. I've done what we call like Facebook posting parties, which you've probably been a part of with maybe Pampered Chef, or maybe, any other. Brandy did one the other day. It was Tupperware. I was like trying to think of the word. And so we have I created a whole like pretend Facebook party online. And so if you want to be added to that, you don't even have to make up your own stuff. You can copy mine, or you can like totally make up your own. It's whatever you want to do. But when it comes to booking, it's really just about asking. So it's about deciding which kind of party you want to do, or do you want to do an in-person party or a virtual party? And then just coming to your people and asking them. And it can be something super simple like, hey, I just need practice. Like, can I come over, or can you come over and I can just literally practice? And I remember being in college in my dorm room, like inviting my neighbor and being like, okay, put this on your face. Does that feel good? Okay, I think you wipe it off. Okay, put this on. She's like, I think you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, okay, well, you tell me. You don't even have to know what you're doing, but the products sell themselves. And you guys know that, right? It's why you're here. You love the products. You've been using them. But sometimes it's just letting your wall down to be vulnerable and to learn. And your people want to help you. And so whether that's practicing and saying like, hey, okay, so we can have Facebook parties. I need to learn how to do this. Can you be my hostess? And just asking. So statistically across the board, 1 in 5 people are going to say yes. So when you get 4 no's, okay, you remember that I told you this. This is not you. This is not because they hate Mary Kay. This is not because they hate you, okay? It's just across the board, statistically, 1 in 5 people you ask are going to say yes. And that's like Mary Kay statistics. And so, Sammy, coming back to your question too about bookings and COVID and like money-wise, I have had the most sales I've ever had in these online parties. And I was very nervous. I had never done a Facebook party before, but I'm doing a Facebook party right now. And I usually leave them open for like a week. I don't necessarily think that it matters, but I've sold over $1,000 in this Facebook party. Okay, from complete strangers. And this was like a customer. She was my friend's mom. She's only bought in like the charcoal mask from me. She's not even a great customer. And I said, hey, would you be willing to do a Facebook party for me before I have this baby? Because I don't know what's happening. And she said yes. And I now have, 10 new customers, more orders are still rolling in. And so that's the same in person or virtual. You find a hostess, you ask for her help, and you can give her, a charcoal mask, or you can give her favorite product for free. We have hostess programs that you can Google or look up the Sharp Area website. I don't think any of that matters. It's just about finding one that you like, that you understand, and asking people. And they're going to say yes. And then from there, you learn to practice, right? You learn how to use the products. You use the set sheet that Allison and I show you to close the sale. And then from there, you get referrals, and that's how you really build your team. But I know sometimes it's scary to ask for the booking. That's the very first thing, right? Is we got to have a booking. But I think if you just come at it just in like a way that your people are going to help you, and that's just really, even now, I tell people we have new products. I'm like, hey, I need to practice this. Can you meet with me?
Yeah. And I would say the biggest thing working with especially newer consultants is that fear of rejection, right? Like, what if your best friend says no, or whatever? What if what if they think you're pushy or salesy? I feel like that is like the fear holding people back more than anything of what if they, right? Well, if you never ask, the answer is always no, right? And just like Danielle said, the numbers really don't lie. And so even the question about team building, which we will get back to that about like, how do you keep your team going and this and that? Well, everything in Mary Kay is mathematical. It's not magical or anything else. Everything can be related back to like a percentage or a number, which I appreciate. Like, I started out as an accounting major in college. And so I like the facts and I like numbers, because numbers don't lie and they help you to take the emotion out. And so I feel like if you learn what those numbers are, it helps you to not be emotional about it and get upset. And so that 1 in 5 is a really, really key number just to learn about. 1 in 5 people that you ask to host a party, it may be more than that, say yes, but let's just say 1 in 5 say yes, okay? Because that helps you not take it personally or get defeated or stop when you get that first no, right? You keep going and you keep asking until you get the yes. Because it was said to me, it was kind of put to me like this one time. If I asked you for a piece of gum and you said no, would I take that personally? No, you didn't want a piece of gum, right? And so if I ask you to host a party or ask you about a product or to join my team and you say no, that's about you saying no, right? Not about me being offended, like not about you telling me no, right? Like, that's your choice and your decision, not against me. And I feel like that's something that people have a hard time with, because they think that the person is telling them no, when in reality, it's just not the right time for them, right? And so if you can manage this part up here and know that 1 in 5 people are going to say yes, that helps to keep those other 4 people from making you stop, right? And then as far as working with your team, typically 1/3 of the people on your team are the ones that are working. They're the ones that are moving up. They're trying to be a star. They're trying to get their red jacket or go on Target for their car. They want to move up to become a sales director. Typically, it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. 1/3 of the people are happy just kind of being active, kind of doing whatever they're going to do. They're in it very part-time. And then 1/3 of the people may never do anything. And that's okay, because that's the math, right? It's not against you. It's just their decision. It's not the right time, whatever the case may be. So when you are talking about team building and you do want to become a director or you do want to build a team, it's the same thing. You don't stop when you get a no, right? You keep going. And even when you have 1 or 2 team members, that may not necessarily mean you have a productive team yet, because you just don't have enough. And so I think that's the main thing, is if you are wanting to be in a leadership position, or even just do this long term, not that you have to be in a super high position, but just make, extra money and make it long term consistently. It's just that you're always continuing to add new people, or always continuing to ask, because again, 1 in 5 people say yes. And I think that's the key in building a successful team, and not team building at all, is just asking. And a lot of people are going to say no because it's not for them or it's not the right time, but there are going to be people that say yes. And of those people that say yes, you're going to meet someone like Danielle that, runs with it as a business, wants to become a sales director, wants to earn a car, and you're going to meet people like that along the way when you have enough people to work with. So I hope that answers the question that we had about that. But I would encourage you guys really just to look at that advanced brochure and see, is this something that I want to do? Maybe have 3 team members and earn my red jacket. You can earn up to a 13% commission as a consultant with 5 people on your team. That's also the level where you can go and target for your car. And so it's not a ton of people, but you can still maximize the commissions as a consultant with 5 people on your team. And so a lot of times I think there's the perception that you have to have a huge amount of people, when in reality, you can make some good extra money, even with just 3 or 5 people on your team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it is just remembering to give yourself grace of like, you don't have to know everything in terms of team building or in terms of product. And so of course, in Mary Kay, we have our whole entire lookbook. Like, you're not ever going to know every single product and every single fact and every single price. And so don't even have that weight on yourself. At all my appointments, I have the lookbook because I'm like, oh, let me see, let me look that up. Like, I don't even know. But Mary Kay is making a new virtual flip chart as well, which is going to be out in the middle of this month, which is going to be on our digital showcase app. And where when you are at in-person appointments or you're doing virtual appointments, it kind of walks you through, this is what the cleanser is. These are the ingredients. Step 2, this is the moisturizer. And so that way you have something to hold and to read from. And we have all of these resources already in paper version, but how awesome that we're just going to be able to open up our iPad or open up our phone and be able to go through that with somebody too.
Yeah. And the confidence comes in the doing. And so the more you do something, even something like this, I mean, with as little stuff as I have done this past year, I'm not great with all the technology stuff, the Zoom, and it's just it is what it is. But the more I do it, the more confidence I have, the more comfortable I get. But for me, I knew how to do things in person. And so I just tried doing that through the screen. I would do a facial with somebody on FaceTime, and the Skin Analyzer app that Mary Kay has is a really, really good tool, especially if you don't know a lot about the products yet. And so things like that, you personally using the products are going to be the best education that you can have, and trying as many products as you can. And that was always something that I was really good at, was because I love the products, I use them, I knew how to share those with other people and describe those. So number 1, using the products yourself, studying the lookbook. That was something that I did as a consultant. I would keep it, by my bed at night. I would look through it and read what it says. On Mary Kay in Touch, there's also an entire product, central is what they call it, product central, where there's literally a fact sheet on every single product. And they have what they call a power statement for that specific product. And so if nothing else, you can go through and learn a new power statement maybe once a week, or one every day, learn about a new product and just kind of memorize those little statements so that you know how to share that with somebody else. And so can you read that? Oh, Danielle, did you post that? So I want to talk about the apps for a second. So as a new consultant, the Great Start app for sure is something that you want to make sure that you have. The My Customers app, which is a mirror of the My Customers section of Mary Kay in Touch. It just makes it easier to do on your phone. But that's how you can send orders, input your customer information, all of that. The Sharp Area app. So our national area, which is basically the leader and the women that we were trained under and with, and things that we've created as sales director, is all kind of housed on the Sharp Area website and the Sharp Area app. And that's SHARPE, sharparea.com, and then the Sharp Area app. And things that we've created, like the set sheet that we were talking about, and different training, and that's stuff that's on those websites and app versus something that Mary Kay has created. Okay. And then it seems like there was another. We talked about the MK University, which is the training that you can do online on Mary Kay. Were there any other apps, Danielle, or training
No, I think that's it. Just on under education, there's the Color Confident, which is about the glamour products. There's a Skincare Confident, which is all about skincare. And there's a new Clinical Solutions Confident, which is all about the new Clinical Solutions retinol. And so these training courses, I'm telling you, are phenomenal. You can kind of go at your own pace. You don't have to sit down and do all of it at one time. But I love them because they're very interactive. So it pretends like you're in a consultation with a person. And you learn about the products, and then there's like a little quiz. And so it's like, okay, CME's coming to you, she's saying this, and it's like multiple choice of like, how would you respond, or which products would you recommend? And I was always afraid of like saying the wrong thing. Like, I don't know, words scare me. But I like that. And it kind of walks you through of like, yes, this was correct because of this, or okay, well, maybe that wasn't the best option because of this. And so it really helps you even like conversationally, is that a word? Conversationally, when you're working with your customers.
And then the skin analyzer was the other one I was talking about. So it looks, I don't know if you guys can see this at all. It looks kind of like this, but it's basically, Mary Kay has technology in some other countries where they actually have these like face scanners that give an analysis of their skin, and they've incorporated it into this app to where you could have someone, let's say you're not meeting with them face to face or in person, you could have them use this app and send you their results, and then you work with them on what products are going to be best for them based on this analysis of their skin. It's pretty cool if you haven't done it yourself. But I've done that a lot one-on-one with people. Like I've had them do the Skin Analyzer app and then done like a FaceTime consultation with them. And so I feel like that's an easy way to get started. And then maybe from there, you ask that person to host a party and get her products for free. So she could do like a virtual party with her friends doing the same thing, and she could get some of her products for free. So that's something that I felt like was always a strength of mine as a consultant, was I would really work with someone one-on-one. Like I was really good at doing a facial with someone, getting to know them, building that relationship so that they liked me, and then getting that person to host a party. That was always what I did, because I honestly, I had the perception that I wasn't great at booking parties, but I was really good with people one-on-one. And then from there, I would get them, because they love the products, they wanted to get them for free. Then she would share them with her friends and do a party. I just felt like the word party was intimidating, or I had a mental block about it. It wasn't it wasn't the people, it was me. And so that was the way I felt confident in getting parties. And you guys, Mary Kay considers a party a hostess and 2 guests. So literally 3 people. Sometimes we think a party has to be like 10, 20, 30 people, which it can be in pre-COVID times, I guess. But honestly, the smaller the group, the better results I personally have, because you're able to give people more attention, and it doesn't get kind of out of hand. Now, virtually, it can be, 100 people and it not matter, I guess. But for me, that always worked, was working one-on-one, and then through that person, getting her to host a party. And then a lot of times after she hosted a party, talking to her about becoming a consultant, because then she just sold, she has these friends and family that can be her customers as a new consultant. And so that was a lot of how I built my team over time, was through that process of a facial, a party, and then recruiting them to be on my team. Which not everyone's going to sign up to do that, but that was a great way for me, because then they were connected to the products, they had customers. It just worked really naturally for me. One thing I did want to tell you guys is one of the best ways I feel like that you can build customers in your team right now is through these upcoming events that we have. So Danielle and I are going to do a new product launch next week, next Thursday, right, Danielle? The 13th? Thursday the 13th. So we'll send out more information about that, but we're going to do a launch of all the new summer products. And the summer products are going to be available for all consultants to order on the 15th. But if you participated in PCP or were a star, you can order on the 10th. And then on the 23rd, May 23rd, we're going to do another one of those big events with the big like Louis Vuitton prizes, the iPad and cash giveaway like we did the spring fling. It's going to be called Made Magic. And so that's on the 23rd. And so those are going to be great opportunities for you to where we're going to do the work for you as long as you get people to watch. That's the only thing you have to do is get people to watch and then follow up afterwards. But we're going to be doing the actual event, which is how I learned as a consultant was watching other people do the events and just having guests there. Okay, I'm going to look back through my notes. Are there any other questions that you guys wanted to go over?
I did make a link too of all of like the resources and the apps and stuff. So we'll send that to you guys so you can have like a list so you can
Good.
go through. And all the apps are free.
Yeah.
So I live in a very, very small town. Is like social media the best way to get my name out there?
Some people would say social media is the best way, and some people would say that one-on-one personal connection is the best way. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think it's whatever you personally prefer. Okay.
Are you just starting out, Anna?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
actually in week 5, I do believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I
So
signed
I would
up.
encourage all of you to work through people that you already know. So who do you already know? Like in your small town, you probably have great relationships with people in certain places that you visit, and maybe it's the only place in the town, right? So like, where do you go to eat? Where do you shop? Where do you get your hair done? For me, that was a huge resource when I first started, was my hair salon. And I feel like in a small town, especially, everybody talks to everybody, right? So who do you already know? Where do you already go? And how can you utilize those relationships? If you love social media and social media is great for you, that's awesome. I personally have deleted all of my social media because mentally I could not stand it any longer. And my team had our best month ever. Or not best month, best month in over a year in April after I deleted social media.
Wow.
So if it works for you, that's awesome. I believe you don't have to have it to be successful.
Okay.
So whatever works for you, run in that lane. And I would say work through the people you already know to meet people that you don't know yet, whether that's online or in person.
Good question though. I feel like everybody's wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Here's my
And you
question.
guys, it's okay to ask like way more basic questions if you're just getting started. I feel like this might have been a little bit more advanced than like a brand new consultant training, but I do know that many of you have already worked one-on-one with your director, whether that's me or Danielle or Brandy, and gotten those first steps going at least. And so,
Go ahead, Lynn. What was your question?
Well, I noticed this month I was placing an order and there was a lot of things that were out of stock. Even like the foot cream was out of stock. So
Danielle and I were talking about that on the last day.
what do we do?
All the body care is gone.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's like a Mother's Day thing or like you know what I mean? Like some of those products I feel like are specific for gift items. And so I don't know if that was like maybe why. But I do know that all in all, Mary Kay has done a phenomenal job of when something is sold out, it gets replaced fairly quickly. And so yay for the hand soaps being back in stock. You guys, I'm so excited. I already ordered my 10 because I wanted to make sure I did not miss them. I love those. I feel like it's an easy sell, and I like to give them as gifts. So for like teachers' gifts and stuff like that. So I think they're going to be replacing stuff pretty quickly, but here's another reason that I would suggest that you guys, at least like once a week or something, check on Mary Kay in Touch, because they have a news section where they'll post like, hey, the soaps are back in stock, or every Monday they do an out of stock update. And so there's a tab called COVID-19. And it's basically because of COVID, they're running out of certain products, and they have a list of expected dates of when those items are going to be back in stock. Because what I'm finding is people are sending me messages like, hey, when is this going to be back in stock? And I didn't even know it was out of stock.
Right.
Like it just kind of happens, but I didn't know about it because they're not like letting us know. They're just updating it on In Touch. So like we don't have an inside scoop on when things are going to be back in stock. They're just posting it online, and it's like if it's a surprise, you know, when you go to order and it's back in, it's back in. Like we're not being notified of that. So I feel like because it's just so many things are so fluid right now, and it's a packaging issue. Mary Kay produces all of our products in Dallas, Texas. So it's not a product issue. It's problems with like the third party packaging. So like the problem with the soaps and the satin hands is the pumps, because that's such a high demand item right now. Whatever supplier they get the pumps from, they're having issues with that. So it's not the physical product itself, it's like the packaging and the materials, which kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Because it was like if Mary Kay was in control of it, there would be no issues.
We would be
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
There's no
They're
control.
relying on other people. So I do know if it's like a super popular product that they run out of, they've been getting it from other markets, like from other country, Mary Kay in other countries. And so they're doing like absolutely everything they can to refill them. But what I've noticed is that if something is out, it gets back in stock pretty quickly, all things considered. So I don't have an inside scoop to answer your question. But I did notice that. I even texted Danielle. I was like, whoa, literally all the body care products are gone.
Yeah.
They're all out. Okay, do you guys have any other questions? Also, I will say this because I've gotten some questions about this too. If you are using the app, the My Customers app, like let's say you're doing a customer order on the app and something's not working, I would try to go on the website to see if you can do it on the website, and vice versa. If something's not working on the website, I would try it on the app. Because as crazy as it sounds, I've had something not work on the app and I go on the website and it's fine, or vice versa. So like it could be an address that you try to ship it to and it's not accepting it, but you do it on the computer and it works. Or a product that, you know, is saying it's in stock, but it's not letting you ship it. If you switch devices or whatever you're doing, a lot of times it'll work. And I don't know why that is. But I think it's because there's consistently so many updates happening right now that they're not always in sync. And I even had that happen today when I was trying to do a customer delivery service order. So just know that as frustrating as that may be sometimes, just try a different device or try actually getting on Mary Kay in Touch if you're having trouble with the app. Can you guys think of anything else? Danielle?
I can think of nothing else. Yeah.
Oh, when's your baby due?
Oh, well,
That's a
Lynn,
good question.
my due date is June 24th, but Last time I
Wow.
went to the doctor, they said they were going to induce me at 36 weeks, which is in 3 weeks.
So are you scared?
No.
You just
You've been
ready?
very calm about it all, considering.
Good deal.
Danielle's very tiny. If you don't know her in person,
Oh,
we're
I'm
like,
like less than 5 foot. Yeah. Pre-pregnancy
wow.
was like 130 pounds. And so I'm just all belly right now.
yes.
But
But I
I'm a
bet you're
very like,
cute.
I'm a very present person. And so I feel like I can't even think about when the baby comes. I can only think about like what's happening today. So I don't really have a lot of feelings about it, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm just like, this is what I can do today. So all the laundry is put up and the diapers are organized. And when the baby comes, I'll figure out what that means too.
Yeah.
So she's having
And
a
you will.
boy. She's
Yeah.
having a boy. And so literally I'm giving her everything as
Everything.
we get done with it.
That's
Which
pretty
I
cool.
love. Yeah. Thank you for asking, Lynn. Yeah. I go back to the doctor tomorrow, so we'll see what they say.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank you. Well, I do want you guys to let us know. And so this is something, you know, a lot of you are brand new or jumping back in. And so if having a Zoom or something like this, even more regular, maybe every other week or something that's outside of our normal meetings, specifically about maybe booking or growing or, you know, something like that. If you think that would be in support to you guys, whether it's Allison or me or vice versa, you know, we could kind of go back and forth. We would totally be open to doing that, especially as we're kind of coming into the last 2 months of the seminar year, which you maybe don't even know what that means, but we're like in the busiest season. And so always the summer is the busiest for our year-end goals, for you, for our unit standings. But it's like the most fun time to get started. And so literally today, 7 years ago, was my first Mary Kay party that I did as a consultant that Allison came and did with me. And well, she did for me. I stood in the corner and I hid the whole time because I was so scared. But if you think something specific,
We got
like
the people
this,
there. We had like 30 people there.
yeah,
Wow.
it was wild. But we would totally be open to doing that. And so you know, kind of think through your questions, look through the resources this week. And if you think we need something scheduled or even something one-on-one with just you and your director, reach out to us and we would love to set that up.
Yeah. So I would say kind of a starting point from tonight of, okay, like, what do I do with this information or where do I go? Talk with your director about any questions that you have if you need to be like, well, what was she talking about when, you know, when she said that? If that was a little bit over your head. But I would start with that MK University if you haven't checked that out yet. And work through making a list of people maybe that you haven't talked to about the products or hosting. If you haven't done a debut type party yet with your director, that would be my number one step, because that can be virtual or that can be in person. Just depending on what your situation is. But from there, then I would work through, okay, well, who told me they would watch, but they didn't? Who can I follow up with? The new summer products are coming out. So who can I get to watch the online event for that? And I'm a person that works off of lists. So I would just like think of like a wedding list almost, right? Like, who can I talk to? Who can I share with? And then from that list of, okay, well, I think she would be awesome on my, like, star the ones you would want on your team. Like, I think she would be great. You know, she needs extra money, or she's retired now, she has extra time. So like, who are the ones you would want to share with and want on your team? Not that they are going to, you know, automatically say yes, but those are the ones that you would pick to be on your team if you could choose. And then I would just work with your director on, you know, how can you plug those people into an event? How can you follow up? What's going to work with each person to help you get those bookings and share about the opportunity for the business.
Love it. So this month we're all going to build our team to 5 people and we're going to sell $1,000.
Woo!
Or more or less.
You already got it done in your Facebook party. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, for real though.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for being on. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And yeah, just follow up with your director. Let her know any questions, how you guys can work together, and kind of work through that list of the next steps of booking, selling, recruiting, because that's all it is, over and over and over again.
Yep. Forever and ever and ever.
All right, you guys,
Okay,
any
friends.
last questions or comments? Okay.
We'll send back the playback of this too. So if you need to come back and like refresh or something, you'll have it for us.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Have a
Thank
good night,
y'all.
everybody.
Good night. Hopefully we'll see you next week for the new products.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.